What's that? Maybe if my temporary password from yesterday works.
No, it doesn't.
So now what?
I just said forgot my password again, and then it gave me a new one.
That's what it
What
is.
do I do? Have to put your email in.
Oh, wow. I haven't.
Now it's 7.
59.
Okay. 59.
I don't have the
Okay.
minute book, so we can sign it later.
It's 7.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Good evening. I want to call this meeting to order and welcome everybody to our meeting this evening, and as well as our viewers on the live program. Moved by Councillor McGuinness, second by Councillor Corbett, that this meeting be opened at 7 p.m. All in favor? Carrie? Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor McGuinness, that the minutes of a regular meeting of council held May 23rd, 2023 be adopted as circulated. All in favor? Carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest?
I have one for the cornhole tournament. It is 10.3.
Okay,
I also have one for 10.3.
And I also have one for 10.3.
and which one?
10.3.
10.3. Okay, and mine interest is 4.1. So, and that's next.
That is next.
So I better leave.
I'll just borrow this for now.
Do you want anything out of here?
Sure. Thank you very much.
701. Just to clarify, would Mary also for 10.4 then?
You can't say nothing.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to presentations and delegations. I see Mr. Mustakazi are here and Mr. Goodrich. So I believe we have a presentation. I'm not sure who's Mr. Goodrich.
I guess it's me.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity to come and present before you once again. I'm sure everyone's had a chance to read the bullet points that I sent in, so you already have some of the historical background, which I provided during the last presentation, so I won't waste time going through this again. It's a small town, lots of rumors going about. We don't want to be proceeding on the basis of rumors, but we came this evening just to ask mostly to allow us to have a little bit of time. We are running out of time on trying to find an amicable solution. But please, if you are planning on anything, just give us an opportunity to try to resolve this amicably amongst the neighbors. We've sent out a letter, and I believe Mr. Kazi provided a copy of the letter as well, to the neighbors, seeing if we can set up a meeting where we can all get together, sit down, discuss the issues, try to discuss some solutions. We had a proposal. It was never meant to be a take it or leave it or offer. It was simply a starting point for the conversation. I know the municipality, we had invited, or we'd asked the municipality last time to be able to use municipal infrastructure, the council chambers or the boardroom, as a sort of a neutral spot to hold the meeting. But there are other locations within the municipality that we can, obtain for that. we still think it's important that the municipality at least attends as an equal participant. You also are a landowner in the area, and any solution that is arrived at is most likely going to involve, to a large extent, some of the municipal lands that are there. So we would ask that either a staff member or perhaps a member of council sit in on these meetings simply as a landowner. We're not expecting you to support what we're putting forward. We want to hear your views. We want to make you aware. We want to give you an equal opportunity to have your views known with the entire group, and the entire group being only really 4 parties: the Hones, the Scots, yourselves, and the Causeys. And I'm sure with that limited amount, we should be able to find a solution amongst the group of us that hopefully will be of mutual benefit. So I don't think I'm going to need the entire 10 minutes, Andre, unless there are questions. But that was mainly it. Was just to reiterate that we are trying our very best to find an amicable solution. Ask for the time to be able to do that. And hopefully that somebody from the municipality would be able to sit, at the very least, just sit in on the meeting and hear what's being discussed. And if there's something that is thrown out as a potential solution that definitely would be a non-starter for the municipality, let us know right up front so that we can then perhaps design a different solution. Anyways, thank you very much for your time this evening, and if there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Any questions at all? My only question is, so you indicated, you talked about you're running against time, or you're running out of time for, I was gonna say, I think that thing tilts up there. Yeah.
And it doesn't have a big enough ledge on the bottom.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, the time constraint we are facing is that there is a statute of limitations. One of the avenues open that we're trying not to pursue would be a Road Access Act application for courts to have it deemed to be a vehicular access to the property in question. But we only have a certain limit of time to bring an application forward. And I believe September is the time when the papers would have to be filed. But of course, the lawyers need time to prepare that if they're going to be making the application. We've been working on this for almost 2 years now through successive, members of staff. I think we're now on our 3rd CAO and either our 2nd or 3rd planner. So it's been a bit of a revolving door here. I know it's nobody in this room's fault. It's what we've been up against. And so we've been working towards this for some time, but we are running out of time. And we really do want to try to solve this without having to go through the courts.
Yeah, so just on that, my follow-up is, so you're asking for time to try and come up with an amicable solution.
Yep.
There's been an extensive process or reach out to other parties up to this point, has there not?
Yes, we have, but we've been trying to work through the municipality as well. So at this point, that hasn't paid off, or we haven't seen any benefit from doing that. We're still trying our best to do that. But we've never sat down with all of the parties in one place at one time, where we can just throw out ideas around the table and see what we can come up with. And that's sort of where we're at now. And we're hoping that we can have that meeting sometime within a 2 to 3 week period. And that's what we're asking for.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Appreciate
Thank you
that.
very much.
Yeah. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, hopefully I can get mine up right.
Okay.
Steve, time?
9:09.
I should have added 10.4 to my interest, my declaration of
Okay,
interest.
I will give you a paper and you can fill it out after the meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
so that'll be 10.4
10.4.
along with 4.1,
Okay,
right? Thank you, Andre. So then minutes and reports from municipal committees and boards. The planning advisory, you haven't had a
We have
meeting.
not had a meeting, no.
We haven't had a meeting. The secretary and I went to Niagara Falls for the conference there. A lot of information. I didn't speak to anyone that had a planning advisory board. They're all a committee of adjustments, and that's what the actual conference is called, the Association of Committee of Adjustments. And I don't know if that's something that we have to look at down the road. If that's something, how we would change that from the planning advisory board. I asked the structure of the committee of adjustment. Some of the committee of adjustments with the municipalities had no counselors on it, no counselors on the committee of adjustments at all. Some had maybe one counselor. It was an interesting conference. It's a provincial policy statement. There was lots of information on that. And we found that there was a video that we should possibly get that the planning advisory board can see, and as well council, if there's information that you want to look at, then maybe the council could do that as well, because the final decision comes from council, even though the planning advisory board recommends to council. So I'm trying to think what else. Kim said she could possibly print all of the information and put it in a binder, because I did see people that have these, and it would be handy even for any counselor or the planning board to have a look at it, just to see the information that's there for us. There was some that was not, it didn't pertain to us, where there was like Guelph, the city of Guelph, there was information on that, and Hamilton housing and that sort of thing, which it didn't relate to us in any way. There were breakout sessions and lawyers in there for people that just wanted to talk about different things, different questions. And that was available to anybody that wanted to be part of that. And we sat in the sessions pretty well all day, early morning breakfast again, and we finished at 4:30, 5 o'clock. So we stayed the 2 days and then came back that evening. Was a little bit late when we got here, but we made it home, and it was good, but lots of information, and I'm hoping that the videos will help our planning board, and also if council wants to watch it, maybe we could set it up as a training for council as well, just even to just watch the video.
Mhm.
So,
I will speak to the office clerk and to our CAO, and we can get all of that set up.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
And then we have the fire department. There you had a meeting June 6th.
Yep, so we were going over terms of reference, so we're pretty close to that. CAO Kunkel was in attendance for that one as well. So that was a good meeting.
Okay. And then recreation and fitness.
We had that as well last week. So we've canceled the July meeting because it would end up being like a couple of days just after our Canada Day celebration. So we didn't need a July meeting. So our next meeting is in August. But our next big event is Canada Day.
Okay, and for the recreation and fitness, I think maybe if we all held these little signs up that we're going to ask the public to support us, the purchase of these decals, the funding goes to the recreation, right?
Yes.
So if anybody wants to get them, give it to somebody.
Jason
And
wants four,
promote.
one for each of his recycling bins.
You're right, I do.
Pay up.
You're right.
And the other thing is, I would like to congratulate Steve for the award that he received. He's on the front page of the Bay every day I opened it. There was Steve. And but it is a well-deserved award for what you put into the community for the children, for the programs, and I'd like to say I'm very proud of that.
I appreciate that.
Thanks. Good job. Yeah.
Library,
No meeting.
general government, no meeting. Police Services Board. We didn't have a meeting, but we went away for 4 days this time, and our secretary came with us. We had a few times we didn't really enjoy the conference.
No.
There was, because they're making changes to the Police Services Act. And last year at this time, it's the province that's doing it. And last year at this time, they told us the regulations weren't in order yet. They're still working on the regulations for the changes. This year, at the same time, it appears to be the same story, that they're working on the regulations. Where we're at with it, I'm not sure where we're going. I know by 2024, we're no longer going to have our Police Services Board because they're going to I guess you'd say amalgamate the boards. There was a meeting, I think sometime a year or two ago. And I don't know if Bonfield didn't attend it. I know I was on the board, but I did not get an invitation to the board, to the meeting. Then there was a number of municipalities met. And I think the decision, and I'm saying I think the decision because I don't know, is that we would go on to Mattawa. We would be on the same board as Mattawa. But so far, nothing has been confirmed. So I guess we just have to wait until maybe we'll get a little bit more direction from the OPP. And some people complained, of course, about the same thing. I think that's what I didn't enjoy, and we discussed it, that where people are complaining about the cost and you know, when you choose to live up here, some places pay $800 a household, or per person, I think it was, right?
Per household,
Per household.
I believe.
Because we figured it out, and I think ours is around 125,
I think so.
135. So, but they were complaining because everything was down south and they had to come, but that's just the way it is. If you choose to live up in the North Pole, I guess you have to pay more for police services. And same thing with ours. I don't know what it's like down south, but it's the section 31s, which is city police. They have more say about their police services, the wages, everything. We can speak to the OPP, but we don't have anything to say about their wages, nothing like that. But if we go to Mattawa, well, we would be part of the board there.
Yes.
So. And then emergency management, no meeting. Public Works, no meeting. do you have anything to say? Want to tell us anything?
We're working diligently to get the splash pad open. We have our inspection from the health unit on the 20th. So as long as we pass inspection, which I've been working with the health unit, so I already know what kind of inspection we'll be receiving, etc. We should be open on the 20th for the splash pad. We had to cancel our last load of calcium. We were supposed to receive it yesterday. However, weather did not allow that to happen. So our last load will be on Monday, the next Monday coming. We moved our recycling center yesterday in the rain instead. It may need some tweaking as we work through it. However, it looks fantastic. It looks user-friendly. We receive our metal signage on the 26th. However, we did make some the exact same signs on paper and then laminated them, and we put them on the post that they're to be at until for the interim until we receive the signs. So we'll see how that rolls around. It's good that we did it on a Monday, so we can see on a slower evening on the Wednesday to see how it works out. But it looks fantastic, and it looks like just to empty your plastic and cans. It's like right at your waist level now. It's going to work well, I think. I went to the Public Works Trade Show last week. AORS is very strong with their mandate to encourage young people to join the Public Works workforce. Therefore, we had 150 students from the neighboring school attend in Strathroy. We also invited Fanshawe College to the Public Works Trade Show. So there was presentations leading up to operator training within Fanshawe and what they could get out of that by being a Public Works Department worker. AORS did a great job. Strathroy was a great host. It was a little far because you had to stay in London and then drive out to Strathroy to the trade show, but they had like a bus and they would pick you up from the parking area. It was super, super busy. And unfortunately, Councillor Clark missed out because they had a simulator, so you could pretend to drive a plow truck, a grader, a backhoe.
Can we get that here?
And I hit somebody coming out between two buildings.
And that's what you manage.
We've been very busy trying to get the roads together, pothole repair, the cemeteries. We're trying to get all of that sort of out of our way for this week. Because as well as Parks and Rec, we also have to start concentrating on getting the parks and everything ready for Canada Day. That's all I have for you today.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just want to go back for a sec also for the fire department. It seemed like they had a good fundraiser as well. I did get my picture taken with Sparky. Some people missed me there, I think, especially on Facebook. They said I wasn't there, but I was there. And I was up at the other fundraiser as well and ate hamburgers. So, which were very good. But it was very nice to see all the activity around the fire department. All people and that's the auxiliary was the ones that were doing the fundraising, but that was good to see. Moved by Councillor McGuinness, seconded by Councillor Corbett. Whereas the Emergency Management and Fire Department Committee recommends to Council that the Fire Chief, Deputy Fire Chief, Fire Department Clerk, and Community Emergency Management Coordinator form a working group to collect data to complete the community risk assessment and report to the EMFD committee. Be it hereby resolved that Council approves of this recommendation. All in favor? Carried. Oh, this is a fire too. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGuinness. Whereas the Emergency Management and Fire Department Committee recommends to Council that they organize a fire essentials training course through the OFM and offer it to surrounding communities. Be it hereby resolved that Council approves of this recommendation. All in favor? Carried. So then we have reports of non-municipal committees and boards, Phenom, North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority. We have that information. Have you been at the meeting?
Yeah, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago. We have another one tomorrow and another one on the 28th of this month.
Okay. And
Yes, ma'am.
Bonfield, oh, sorry.
Is there something specific that you're discussing?
It's a lot of staff changes
Oh.
and things like that. That is,
Uh,
Created
that-
extra
That's
meetings.
to do with the changes yeah.
yeah, some of the changes with,
Bill 23?
right, with how they can recoup some funds and things like that. But a lot of it is changes in-house as well with staffing.
Bonfield Nonprofit Seniors Housing.
Yes, so we are having a community meeting on June 26th at 6:30 at the community center. Flyers are going to go out to every household in Bonfield, and here's the chance to come. The construction organization will be there to answer questions, and really the applications are either going out or will be going out this week or next week, and so they're in the final stages. And so they think they wanted to just get everyone together because I'm sure people will have questions, and then this is an opportunity for us to answer them one time because they're probably, or sometimes someone doesn't know that they have that question. So it's just a good opportunity for everyone to come together, and they've done just an excellent job. So
Thank you. Notice of motion, none, right?
None for this meeting.
Introduction and consideration of bylaws. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGuinness. Whereas council deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to adopt a policy respecting the management of beavers and beaver dams in the township of Bonfield be read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2023-26, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All in favor? Carry. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor McGuinness. Whereas council deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to govern the management of waste and recycling under the jurisdiction of the corporation of the township of Bonfield be read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2023-27, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, second by Councillor McGuinness. Whereas council deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw being a bylaw to repeal bylaw 2015-31 and to authorize the following speed limits on certain highways within the township of Bonneville be read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2023-28, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All in favor? Carried.
Deputy Clerk has something. Well, she's signing. 531 is not ours to limit, right? That's a provincially designated. Perfect. Yep.
Your worship. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that the maps will be added to our website so that they could be looked at to see what roads will be affected by this new bylaw.
That's good. They were very good maps.
Thank you to Public Works Manager.
Yeah, the coloring and
Yes,
you could
but
see
they will-
where. Yeah,
Yeah, they will be added to the website so that people can go back and take a look and see what roads will be affected with the new speed limit changes.
okay,
Okay,
thank you. Now we're at disbursements. Sorry. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, second by Councillor McGinnis, that the council approve the general accounts for the township of Bonneville as indicated in the disbursement report dated June 13th, 2023, in the amount of $200,857.16. All in
Your
favor?
worship, I have one question. I have a question.
Oh, okay.
To Manager Carr, we paid $1,500 for 6 beavers.
$125 each,
For 6, that works out to $250.
right? So it could be a typo.
Because you got 6 for $1,500, then you got 4 for $500.
Yeah,
the
it's
disbursement.
125 a beaver. So I don't know what the 1,500.
There's 2 line items that say beavers.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have it in front of me either. I apologize.
no, the report is not part of the council. Those questions should be asked before a council meeting. I will go back tomorrow and look at the report and get back to you, or get back to all of council.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's 125.
Yeah, because that's pretty steep.
Yeah. And ironically, I was just speaking with Andre today. We've captured lots of beavers. And when you think back, maybe they were telling us something about how dry this season was going to be with all these beavers packing up water this spring.
Can I ask the question again? All in favor? Carrie? The next is correspondence and information. Okay, we're going to just go through them, and then if there's any support, we ask for that, a motion for the next meeting.
I'm just, sorry. What I've actually done this time is I prepared the motions in advance.
Oh,
So
okay.
if council wishes to support the items that are on there, the motions are ready and we don't have to bring it back at next
Oh,
meeting.
that's good.
Okay?
Okay, I'll ask as I go through then.
Yes.
On 10.1, that's renovation support request. Is that something we want to support?
Do we get a lot of that in Bonneville? Or
Yes.
then I'll say yes.
And I think it doesn't just affect Bonneville,
No,
it
no,
affects,
of course.
yes,
of
but
course,
we,
it's for everyone, so it is something that
yeah.
we're concerned with.
Moved by Councillor Featherstone, second by Councillor McGinnis, that the council of the township of Bonneville supports the city of Quinte West in urging the province to pass Bill 97 and to add regulations requiring landlords to provide renovation updates when they evict tenants, to ensure tenants are updated when they can exercise their right of return in order to protect tenants from bad faith renovictions, and to consider an increase in fines for landlords who are found to have undertaken bad faith renovictions. All in favor? Carried. Okay, the next one is the open air burning. Could I ask a question? When the ministry puts a ban on fires, then we
cannot override it.
okay,
The township itself can put its own fire ban at any time that the fire chief chooses. However, the Ministry of Natural Resources overrides us.
so during the time now that I don't know if there's a fire ban
Yes.
now still on.
Still, yes.
So then, would this make a difference? Then you couldn't.
No, they would
change
still
them?
have to follow the rules. What they are asking is to an exception to our open air burning bylaw, which is in effect from April 1st to October 31st.
Mhm.
So they're asking for an exception to the times that we have on there.
But the purpose of the 7 o'clock is because of our volunteer firefighters, right?
Yes, in principle, yes, there are other issues as well. The ministry from that time doesn't permit open air burning daytime. If there's bylaws or permits or whatever, they could be to the exception. But those are the regulations that the fire chief, when we passed the bylaw, I think was back in 2010, 2012, when it was revised. And those are the hours that the committee, back then we had Fired First Response Advisory Committee, and the committee felt that with the fire department personnel that we had, those were the best times to allow for burning.
Donna,
We all have questions.
Yeah, I think too, I would ask, what are other communities doing? And I think a lot of other communities have like a 7 or 7:30 time.
Some have 6 o'clock, some
Yeah,
have
so it's
7.
all a little, it's relatively the same, or?
To
there-
a certain extent, and it
Yeah.
also depends to what your complement. A lot of people work during the day, as other municipalities,
Right.
maybe
right.
they have more daytime staff.
Mm.
Some townships have burning permits that you need to apply for. The fire chief, I believe, or deputy chief made a comment. We used to, way back when, have fire permits where, and I think back then they were good for like 3 days, but it caused an issue because where do you obtain, if I decide tonight I want to burn, like the conditions are perfect, where do I get my fire permit?
But we could look at something seasonal, right? So,
Yes,
right, a
but
yearly.
even then, in that instance, if I'm permitted, say I get a seasonal permit, you still don't know if I'm going to burn tonight or tomorrow night or in a week from now. So the fire department doesn't know who's going to be burning when. So it creates more work in a
Absolutely,
sense.
so yeah.
Yeah,
this is, I mean, a campground's kind of a different circumstance, I would think. I mean, it's not, people aren't having big fires or having a little campfire by their trailer. You know, it's more of a family kind of oriented thing.
So maybe with some more parameters, right? So if we designated the size of the fire pit or what have you, with just a little bit more, but it's to your point about resources, right? So someone's
resources.
gonna have
And
to-
those sizes are already in the bylaw.
Okay,
The motion that is going to council tonight is only to deny the exception for this year.
yeah,
And that would give them time to relook for next year and maybe update the bylaw with
Right.
specific, like for a campground specifically as this is, then make an exception, but put it into the bylaw stating, because it does state in the bylaw that you can have a campfire for warmth and food. So then maybe expand on that. Who can do that, you know?
And let's see, to Mayor Paquette's, there's a fire ban on now, so this point is moot,
Right,
right?
right.
So there's, yeah, so,
But at the end of the day, the fire ban could be lifted tomorrow. We don't know
Tomorrow,
that, right? So I mean, this has really, it's irrelevant to that, to this. So,
Yeah, I mean, the campground's on the lake. I mean, maybe they do some provision because there's always someone at the campground, an owner or an employee.
Yeah.
They have a water pump. And, you know, if something does happen,
Yeah.
at least it buys time till the fire department could come, but at least they can control it that way. I mean, it's a campground. I think it needs, this is what you do. You go camping, you have
Yeah.
campfires.
So I'll just say I agree with Councilor McGinnis. And so fair enough, if we're not prepared to do it this year, what do we need to set in motion for council or for staff to bring back a report for council to consider? Do you need a motion or can we just ask for a report or?
and recommendation.
I think in the motion, if Mayor Paquette wants to read it and see, and then you'll get, because I do believe it says for next year to be looked at is,
But yeah, my point is I just, some of these things come and go pretty quickly and all of a sudden it's next year and we won't have done our homework. And so I just want to make sure that it's squarely on staff's radar to get kind of the homework done on this and brought forward. in a
yeah, and the
timely
minutes, the
fashion.
minutes will reflect
Okay.
back to the committee.
And we'll provide a timeline as well, or?
It would have to be done before next March 31st because open air season begins April 1st.
Okay,
So,
so you'd work backwards from that.
Yeah.
too.
so make sure that you have something in place by April 1st of 2024.
So would we refer this back to the fire
The
department?
motion, I think it is clear on,
Okay, I'll read this and then we can decide what we want to add or
Sure.
whatever. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, second by Councillor McGinnis. Whereas the owners of Sunnyside Camp have requested that an exception to the time allocation for open air burning during the camping season from May to October be considered. And whereas the Emergency Management and Fire Department Committee has reviewed their request, and whereas it was decided that burn times would not be changed for this year, but could be considered for next year, be it hereby resolved that council approves of this recommendation.
Fair. I just want to make sure that we're putting something in there, asking staff to
To
bring
bring it
back a report with recommendations or with options.
Right, like
Um,
February.
Yeah,
if I mean, it does say that the Emergency Management Fire Department Committee.
Okay, perfect, yes.
So it does, sorry, I just had to get the right wording, but it does
Sure.
say that the committee is involved.
has reviewed the request and whereas decided to change.
So how do we make sure
Yeah.
that it goes through that E EMFDS?
So it should
that-
come back
so
as
that it
an
goes
unfinished
back, yeah.
business.
So it's got to go back to that committee. They can
Yeah.
do all the,
And would you
The work.
start that in February?
well, we could start it in the fall. We could start it.
Well, you
anytime,
could start it
right?
at your next meeting because it
Yes.
should have been on your agenda for the last
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah,
So it should come back as unfinished business.
yes, okay.
Or referrals from council.
Or
How about if we
referral,
just
yeah.
say, and whereas the Emergency Management and Fire Department Committee has reviewed the request and council has set a timeline of to bring back a report, and we can,
Yeah,
and then, okay. Has deemed a report due. A report. Back. What's a reasonable date for that to be due back to council?
I think the fall.
Sure,
For
so,
review, right?
October 30, November 1st?
Yeah.
Sure.
November 1st, I think is good.
Geez, now I'm getting into the spot you're supposed to sign, sorry. Fine.
Need another page.
2023. Okay, so and
Okay.
council is deemed to report back to council.
Okay, I'll just read this part because I read it already. And council has deemed a report back to council for consideration of extension options by by November 1st, 2023. All in favor? Carried. And then the next, oh, I just wanted to say, it's not part of that motion, but I did speak with another municipality. And they have the burning permits. They charge $75, but I didn't ask specifically for what time, if that was just for one burning day or what it was for.
Probably a set date from, because I think ours is like from, when does our burning permit go on? April, like we can't have daytime fires.
From April 1st to
June.
October 31st.
So-
Yeah.
And then I think you need a burning permit for that, but after 7 o'clock.
And that's,
Yeah, because this was the day permit, she said.
Oh,
They sell it, but
Some,
so it would have to be something specific, I think, because.
some municipalities
Because
do
they're a
offer. Yes.
volunteer, they're a volunteer fire department as well.
Yes,
but they probably have someone there all the time though, right?
that's the issue is the lack of staff in case something would happen during the day.
So we
Yeah.
can ask for options,
Yep,
right? I
You
think
can
we-
review with
yeah,
other municipalities and
Yes,
see how they do
exactly.
it, what they do.
some
um,
best practices and
yeah.
then make a good plan for Bonfield, yeah.
because some municipalities even have a burn permit just for the evening burning. So every single household would have to apply and pay for their permit for that season and still go only 7 a.m. or 7
Yes.
p.m. until
Yep.
the morning.
And, well,
That's just a grab of cash.
yeah, and
Exactly.
I mean,
Good.
some places are free and it stays with the property. You get it once and it stays with until you sell it or move away.
Or decide to move your fire pit to a different location, or
Mm,
Now,
if it
what-
has to be set back, then, so you usually have to get it approved. where
well,
you're
not
gonna
on
put
big parcels of land. I mean,
Yeah. So all of that, I
Some
think
approvals
the,
are probably easier than
committee-
others. sort of.
Yeah. So the committee would have to review the bylaw and see what needs to be changed, updated.
look at best
Um,
practices,
yep.
what neighboring communities are doing and yes, and again, if we need extra resources, hopefully the program can pay for itself, right? So. Or subsidize.
The next one, how are we going to do that if we have 3 people that have, and there's only 2 of us left here? 3 people have declared an interest.
which would mean I don't have quorum, but I'm not sure. Counselor Corbett did make a comment at the beginning of the meeting.
And it was just based off CAO Kunkel's conversation that I had with her, that it would still be fine because we are here, register for the meeting, you declare your conflict, and that the 2 of you would be able to move forward with.
So I will proceed
Business.
with that information.
I'm just parroting what I heard. so.
I had not realized that Counselor Clark may declare an interest as well.
Don't bother.
So I will go based on CAO Kunkel's information to you and we'll go
I
with
hope for
that.
the best.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
You'll have to
time,
go up there.
7:48.
7:48.
Yep.
Where's the motion? First, second, and carried.
What about the second? Do I do both?
No, she will. Mayor Paquette will second.
Okay. Moved by Councillor McGinnis, second by Mayor Paquette. Whereas Jason Corbett and Steve Featherstone are requesting council's permission to host a charity cornhole tournament at the outdoor rink and basketball court. And whereas a special occasion permit has been obtained for this event, therefore council approves of the use of the outdoor rink and basketball court for this event, and that the regulations set out in the municipal alcohol policy be adhered to. All in favor? Carried.
Just keep that with you. So that was. Put it
Oh,
upside down with the
sorry.
other ones. That's okay.
750.
750.
Leave them back there for a minute. Whoops.
I'll give that to you.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. I give it to you.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is 10.4. That's, I've already declared an interest.
751.
So we have resolution number 12, moved by Councilor Featherstone and seconded by Councilor Clark, which I'll read and then we can have any comments. So whereas council acknowledges the property owners first brought a proposal in 2021, and there has not been a resolution with neighboring property owners to date. And whereas council does not desire the township to be perceived as mediators between private property owners. And whereas council has received and considered a further proposal from Mr. and Mrs. Kazi regarding access to the property, lot 21 and 22, concession 12, and lots 22 and 23, concession 13 on April 2023. And now, therefore, council concludes planning fees will not be waived. And further, that council concludes the concession road allowance between concessions 12 and 13 will not be considered for closure. And further, that council may consider an application with a proposal to develop the road allowance between concessions 12 and 13 and or issue a permit license for the use of the unmaintained road allowance. And further, that council may consider a zoning bylaw amendment application to permit development of the property as a water access only lot. Questions or comments?
So we're dealing with the three asks pertaining to the municipality. So one, if we want to be part of the mediation part, the fees, the waiving of the fees,
Correct.
and the variance, I guess, with that.
It doesn't follow the variance. So
Yeah, it's not a
all three of
variance.
them are
Right,
kind of no's.
and to the report's point is that there's no application, so how can we proceed with
Right.
when there's no application?
So is this like, do we defer this or what do we do with this?
Oh, I think we can vote on these motions.
Mhm.
I think that I'm both comfortable
Yeah, okay.
to vote on them.
Yeah,
on the
I don't think
motions.
this is dealing with road closures or.
No, it's
So
just dealing with
it's
what
just- yeah.
our piece was from the meeting of April 23rd. April.
And sorry, and nor is this stopping conversations happening between the private parties, nor is it, and quite frankly, this is nothing stopping from the timing
Right.
consideration. There's nothing in here that is going to impact their timing to work together if there's an amicable solution. So
So what's the last part? What are those two last?
so the last two, and further that council may consider an application with a proposal to develop the road allowance between concessions 12 and 13 and or issue a permit license for the use of the unmaintained road allowance. So in the map, it's,
Yeah.
that.
So does that, so that means they would make an application to create a road there?
Correct.
Okay,
That we
Okay,
would
so that's-
entertain it, yeah.
that's an option, right?
And further, that council may consider a zoning bylaw amendment application to permit development on the property as a water access only lot. So if it remained
Unopened.
landlocked
Yes.
and they're therefore only having
Water access.
water access, we'd entertain an application to still develop it based on water access.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor? It's carried.
I'll get there.
I,
7:55.
Okay. Yeah, we're done.
The next one is 10.5. Okay. That's a report.
no, that's the agreement that needs to be signed if the motion is passed.
That's for the truck, yeah.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor Corbett. Whereas at the regular meeting of council of March 14th, 2023, motion number 18 allowed for the Public Works Manager to tender for a replacement for the 2007 GMC Top Kick before passing a capital budget due to supply and demand issues. Therefore, the Public Works Manager issued an request for quotes for one-town chassis and lift box, and that the RFQ was opened on June 1st, 2023 in public at 1:08 p.m. in the municipal chamber in the presence of Kim Turnbull, office clerk for the Township of Bonfield, and Ann Carr, Public Works Manager for the Township of Bonfield. And furthermore, one bid was received from Edmunds GM for a 2003 Chevrolet Silverado HD 3500 chassis and lift box for a total of $101,977 plus HST, as well as a 5-year warranty for the cost of $3,139 plus HST for a total of $105,116 plus HST. Therefore, the Public Works Manager recommends to council to enter into an agreement with Edmunds GM for the purchase, and that the mayor and CAO sign the agreement. All in favor or any
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, sorry, questions. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jason, you first.
Well, it's a reasonableness question. 101,977. Where is that compared to? I mean, when we only get one quote, it's hard to know if that's actually even reasonable or.
Quote, the RFQ was sent to, as I described, to Ford, to Dodge, to GM, to Chev, to several other dealerships. They cannot meet the deadline. They cannot build us a truck to give us to meet the deadline with the current status of our vehicle not passing safety in November.
So, and when we talk reasonableness of the $101,977 compared to, I don't know if you get our MRSP or whatever it is on vehicles that are being built for you, but like, I don't know if there's value there compared, or if we're how highly we're overpaying for a vehicle of that nature.
I think at this point, with the supply and demand issues, obviously, we're all paying as consumers. When I investigated the cost to give to council as a capital budgetary note at $130,000, with the plow that still needs to be put on and the sander unit, I will still be able to be remaining within that budgetary amount.
So is this money coming from taxation? Like, is,
No. We have a pay-as-you-go here in the municipality. So over the years, yes, we have taxed our taxpayers, so we have cash on hand to be able to do projects or to invest in other items that, so we don't create any debt within the municipality, etc. So this money is like cash on hand is how I'm trying to describe it.
Just-
So
Yeah,
my whole problem is we still haven't seen a budget
or a capital budget.
or a capital budget. So, I mean, I don't want to go down the same rabbit hole as previous councils.
So the alternative is not get a truck, this one not pass safety, and then not have vehicles to use in the fall and in winter.
But we also haven't had a budget in how many years until October, November, and we're heading down the same road. We're just spending.
So if I could, so I agree. I think we're in a bit of a pickle this year. I think my sense is council will set a very different expectation of timing on budgets next year for staff. It'll be far more aggressive than what we've seen this year. I mean, it's been a calamity of we didn't have a CIO and, council, all of that speaks to why I think we're particularly late this year. But obviously, that'll be councils will drive the process moving forward on budgetary cycles. And I think we would all like to see a budget far earlier in a fiscal year. So
I have a question. Did we look at used options? This is a brand new, so what about a used option?
I would feel you
No?
new. I mean, you're buying somebody else's headaches is what you're gonna do with the used.
Okay,
But like I said,
and they only have one Silverado?
there's actually, I went down there to check it out and there are 3 in the lot.
Yeah.
However, we're not the only township bidding.
And you're not buying one right off the lot, you need it
This
fixed up
is-
for us, right? Like,
no, this one's on the lot.
Right.
Okay, and so the other 2 people cannot guarantee that we would get something by November.
how long would we be risk managing that time?
Well, that's 5 months. Right?
Like, are they saying they can get it to us December? Have we explored?
Oh, I
like,
can get it like by the end of the week on council's decision.
No, I
No.
meant others that
Yeah.
can't meet the deadline of, I understand we won't have one that's roadworthy come November, whenever it is.
So the RFQ stated that the delivery date would be October 15th, and that was instrumental part of the RFQ. That gave us a 2-week window, basically, with the new one having to be safety on November 1st.
Did anybody come back with a bid that did not meet the timelines, but
No one
Those
even
timelines?
did or to excuse themselves from the RFQ process because they couldn't meet the deadline.
Right. okay.
Again, my thing is, like, as council, we don't even know how much money's in reserves or
Yeah.
any of this stuff.
Cash
Like,
on
we've seen
hand.
nothing.
Right.
Are there, so this Edmonds, GM, Stockfish, Ford, Parkway, they're all local, right?
Edmonds is Huntsville based.
Okay,
Yes.
is there, like, can we widen the search a little bit, or?
I
Did
did
we go to-
investigate vehicles online
Said
ahead
we-
of time. It's not really a vehicle that's commonly asked for because it is a one-ton chassis. So, like a lot right now would have like a resident, I want to say residential, but a common person's vehicle on the lot. It's kind of a niche, these
Well, it's
vehicles.
a work truck, it's a work
Right.
vehicle. I mean,
So they're not
So they're not
readily
permanent?
available.
And so how long do we have to respond to the RFQ before it's no longer, the quote is no longer valid?
Like I mentioned, there are other municipalities and businesses with.
But they would still have to honor their quote. So it's a formal process that they
Right.
responded to.
I just want to remind council, the last time I did a tender for the SUV for the building department, between the RFQ being bid on and then council making a decision, the vehicle is sold.
They can only honor the quote if they still have it in stock.
I mean, I just feel that we have no numbers to go by. We have not one clue of how much money we run on.
So do we recommend deferring this until the next council meeting? In that time, we need to start looking at preliminary budget numbers before, again, that would be a conversation with the CAO to say, until we actually see more material information. We're gonna risk manage losing this truck, or quite frankly, if all three sell, then obviously I get we've put ourselves in a pickle, but
I get we need the truck, but I just, like I said, we have no financial information to base our decision on.
And
agree.
we don't have
I,
a comparator.
well, it's tough to get a comparative.
Right.
I
If
mean,
no
we
one else
asked for it,
bids,
but
I mean, it's in the ballpark. The number's in the ballpark, but like I said, we don't know what our numbers are.
I guess, I mean, here's the long and short of it from my perspective is come November, we don't pass safety. Do we absolutely need this truck to do business? I guess I'd be looking at Manager Carr and the rest of council say, if we can't operate without this truck, the budget, while it's frustrating, we haven't seen it yet, is almost immaterial to the point of like, if we need this truck to do our business as a municipality, we have to fit it into the budget.
Right, but here's like my spin on this is, that's what they've been doing for the past.
I don't disagree with you. I just don't know what options we have.
Right.
At this point.
But I mean, we're just going down the same rabbit hole.
I appreciate your frustration. I agree with your frustration. I just, unfortunately, here we are shoehorned again into.
That's right, we're always shoehorned.
So all I can hope is that we will fix this moving forward and have more relevant information from a budgetary perspective to make informed decisions. But at this point, we don't have it. We don't have a lot of options if we need this truck. And here we are.
Your worship, anything?
Well, I'm prepared to defer it. But I hope in the event that we're going to be stuck and not have a vehicle, then, but I know where you're coming from when you say we don't know what our money is. We don't know what we have to spend. That's just what any one of us would do even in our own home.
Right.
We're not going to spend the money if we don't know what we have. So possibly, I don't know where we're at, the timing of the budget. Where are we? Is it going to come to the general government soon, or does anybody know?
My understanding is that CAO Council is trying to establish a meeting with council before the end of June. And the budget would be discussed at that time.
So has it been completed fairly well? Has it been balanced and everything done with it, or is it still in the process?
It would probably be the first draft for council to look at.
But even if we had some kind of idea what we have if we have any reserves we don't even know that.
Can with CEO Kunkel being absent today, can we defer this and call a special meeting of council specifically for this
Well,
in a week? Or in
she
10
signed
days?
it already. The CAO has signed it, so.
Like I do want to reiterate that we do have the 130,000 cash on hand.
But we don't know that.
But, and also, we haven't set that as a priority as council. Do we want to take that and put it towards Railway Street?
Yes,
Do we
I
want to,
understand that as
that's,
well.
that we don't get to, like, right now, our priorities are being, or are being taken away from us, our options on priorities being taken away from us to the tune of $130,000, which is frustrating. I'm not saying it's not a priority, it's just until we actually get a better picture of whatever.
And did we answer that question? Like, if November comes and we have nothing, what happens? Did we answer that question?
We use a backhoe to clean parking lots, and then the parking lots must wait until we're done standing roads to be sanded. Which is the medical center, the post office, this office. Our pumping stations for the fire department.
Like I said, I'm frustrated beyond with the budget things. We're left in the dark. We have no clue on any kind of monies or anything. So I'm not comfortable spending this kind of money until we see some numbers.
Well, it's certainly not. There's no due diligence if we spend the money and we don't know what we have. That's one thing. So I would like to, I'm thinking that if the CAO signed it already, she might have a better idea than what we have as to what's in the budget. But when council is not ready to support it, I certainly don't want to support, I don't want to sign it. I won't sign it because I don't know neither. So, and I know we'll be in trouble if we don't have a vehicle, but we're going to be in bigger trouble if we don't have any money.
Yeah.
So,
Your worship, can I just jump on to Council Featherstone's idea, which if you would be willing to also, like, I am willing to come to a special meeting of council if CAO Kunkel can be there to provide some context from a budgetary perspective to better at least make us feel comfortable or not in
Right.
moving forward with this. And then if it's a special meeting of council, at least then we're not holding up the process.
And it doesn't have to be in a week. We can do it.
Yeah,
regularly.
you need,
So I
It'll be before
believe
the end of the
that
week.
there was a request for June 19th for a meeting. We all got it.
well, we can defer it for the next council meeting. And I want to say that it's not, and certainly not that we can't rely on your recommendations. And it's just the fact that I know what you need with the Public Works Department to be able to operate it. But I know council's position when we don't know where we're at with the budget, and that's the way it is. So I would like to ask council to defer this until our next council meeting and give the CAO a bit of time to come back with some information.
Or if she has information, like I said, special meeting. So, I mean,
So we're not holding it up.
so Manager Carr doesn't lose out on it, but we get to see some numbers.
if there's an opportunity, I would be, if you called a meeting, whenever you call it, perhaps, like if it's in the next, end of this week, early next, whatever timing works.
Okay,
Like,
Yeah, I'm good with that too. I don't want to see Public Works lose out on
Yeah,
the
neither do
vehicle,
I.
but I also don't want to be shoehorned into, we have no clue where we stand financially.
okay.
So at the call of the chair, perhaps
Yeah.
if you had an opportunity to speak with CAO Kunkel, get some time and get the call of the chair, we can. meet
Yeah, we
again.
can have a special call meeting to deal with it, one way or the other. So do I just,
You sign it and there is a little place there that says deferred.
I'll give you the whole thing.
Yes. Oh, you
Oh,
can just
Oh,
add
sure.
it to the
That's
rest.
okay.
So the next one, that's just information on the Aggregate Resources Act, right?
Yes, information only.
And then the next one is new business. There's no new business.
No,
And then the next one, unfinished business. Fort Francis resolution in response to the opiate.
so I'll give you
Opioid
4.
crisis.
Those were referrals from the last meeting at council wanted the motions brought forward.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor Clark, that the council of the township of Bonfield supports the town of Fort Francis in response to the opioid crisis and in advocating the province for additional resources to combat the opioid crisis, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to all municipalities in Ontario, local MPs and MPPs, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. All in favor? Carried.
Those are other motions.
What is this? Well,
The
that's
other
next one.
motions, yeah.
I was trying to get this.
Skip through them.
Skipping one. Okay, then. Is this 12.2? No,
Yes.
Prince Edward County? Yeah. This is moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that the Council of the Township of Bonfield supports the Corporation of the County of Price, County of, is it Price Edward?
Prince Edward.
Prince Edward.
Prince Edward.
I'm just going to change that, okay?
Oh, sorry, yes.
In requesting the province to pause proposed changes to the PPS, particularly regarding natural heritage, section 4.1, and agricultural lands, section 2.6 and 4.3, reinvest trust in the local planning authority of all 444 municipalities, recognizing that each Ontario municipality has unique landscapes, different housing needs, and differing visions for local planning matters, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to all municipalities. The Honorable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honorable Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Honorable Lisa Thompson, Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, the Honorable David Piccini, Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks, Nipissing MPP, Vic Fideli, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, second by Councillor Clark, that the Council of the Township of Bonfield supports the Ontario Big Cities Mayor's motion on legislative amendments to improve municipal codes of conduct and enforcement, and that the federal and provincial elected officials should take similar actions to hold themselves to account, and that a copy of this motion be circulated to Right Honorable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, the Honorable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honorable Doug Lametti, Minister of Justice, the Honorable Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Kate Manson-Smith, Deputy Mayor of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Scott Pierce, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, Acting President Colin Vest, President of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and all Ontario municipalities. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that the Council of the Township of Bonfield supports the City of Cambridge in requesting the Ontario government to amend Section 205.1 of the HTA to permit municipalities to locate an ASE system permanently or temporarily on the roadway under the jurisdiction of municipalities and as determined by municipalities and not be restricted to only community safety zones and school safety zones, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Ontario Minister of Transportation, the Ontario Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, local area MPPs, the Association of Municipalities, of Ontario, AMO, and all Ontario municipalities. All in favor? Carrie? Oh.
There's still more.
Another one,
You're
moved by
acting
Councillor
slack.
Featherstone, second by Councillor Clark, that the Council of the Township of Bonfield supports the town of Lincoln, affirming the importance of the Municipal Heritage Register and its role in preserving the cultural heritage of the municipalities throughout the province, and encouraging the government of the province of Ontario to maintain the previous provisions of Section 27 of Ontario Heritage Act, which promotes the retention and expansion of the Municipal Heritage Register, keeping listed properties on the register indefinitely, rather than for a maximum of 2 years, in order to provide adequate time for the municipality to consider the heritage value of properties and, if necessary, initiate the designation process before they may be demolished, and that a copy of this resolution be circulated to all municipalities in Ontario. All in favor? Carrie? Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that the regular meeting of council scheduled for August 8, 2023 be canceled in its entirety, and that a special meeting of council be scheduled in accordance with Section 240 of the Municipal Act 2001 if required. All in favor? Carried. No addendum and the confirmatory bylaw.
Nope, no addendum.
Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor Clark. Whereas council deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council from May 23rd, 2023 to June 13th, 2023 be read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered 2023, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All in favor? Carried.
I apologize, your worship. The bylaw is not attached to it. I'm not sure if it got mixed up with one of the other ones. I'll take a look after the meeting and then I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Does anybody want to sign that one? Moved by Councillor Featherstone, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that this meeting be adjourned at
8:22.
8:22. All in favor? Carried. That's it.
That's it.
Oh, the meeting's adjourned.